Interesting one about this is that in the earnings context, this has already come up, particularly for Netflix, right, in recent weeks. But what's the controversy and what is the actual tool here? Like, what is it that a Netflix would need AI to do?
So as you mentioned, Netflix said on their earnings call just last week that they're using AI, and they also mentioned a production that they'd used it in. So companies like Netflix, what they could do with this software, in theory, is they could maybe lower some of the costs for special effects. So they'd use a model like Runway. Runway's top-of-the-line model is Gen 4. They also have some models that aim to reproduce motion capture software and without using all the fancy and clunky hardware that comes with it. So the idea would be to save costs here and to do some shots that perhaps would have been impossible previously without using AI software.
I think we learned from Ted Sarandos over at Netflix that it was previously using to sort of simulate a building collapse in, I think it was an Argentinian particular visual effects company, but it wasn't Runway. Usually, we understand, according to people familiar, who at Runway have they worked with and what have they been able to produce thus far? Because they're actually out-competing Hollywood or West Coast-based visual effects companies.
Yeah, so Runway works with a number of different companies. We also know that Disney has been testing out their software. Runway has a deal with Lionsgate. They're working in a field that's increasingly crowded, and there are so much larger players. OpenAI has its own video software. Google does as well. And what I would expect to see is companies like Netflix. Probably, they said they did not create that scene with Runway. Well, that implies there's at least one other company that they're working with the software from, right? So I would expect to see that actually as these companies dip their toes into the water of AI video software more and more. You'll probably see them try out a bunch of different ones, and maybe they will end up using a bunch of different tools for different things. I think it really just depends on what they find most useful and what their production teams do. Is it live action? Is it animation? And what tools work the best for those sorts of things?
Let's try and get the big picture vision. This is what Ted Sarandos actually said on Netflix's earnings call.
We remain convinced that AI represents an incredible opportunity to help creators make films and series better, not just cheaper. There are these AI-powered creator tools. So this is real people doing real work with better tools. Our creators are already seeing the benefits in production through pre-visualization and shot planning work, and certainly visual effects.
So, Richard, that's how Netflix sees it. If you are a Runway or another AI company that's working on text-to-video tools, right, is the movie industry or television what they're working toward? Is that who they want to serve?
Absolutely. I mean, they want to work with professionals who are working in these fields, and they want to work with the studios. I think what's also important to keep in mind is this technology is really controversial because there are a lot of people that perhaps would or would not be wanting to use this software that are concerned that this is going to cut into their livelihoods. And I think that's a really real concern. So that's part of why the studios are being, I think they're a little bit hesitant to be public right now about how and if they're using this software because the stakes are really high.